The number of new COVID cases reported each day in Oregon is climbing again, leading Governor Kate Brown to issue new mandates. The State Emergency Board is giving out more federal relief money. Federal officers are blamed for escalating tensions at Portland protests, and a federal judge has allowed Oregon's Independent Redistricting Commission initiative to move forward. This is a news update from Social Advance. I'm Alan Zundel. As you see by the orange bars on this chart from the Oregon Health Authority, identified cases of COVID have been increasing rapidly since May. The very recent apparent drop-off in numbers may be because there are cases that haven't been reported yet. The dark blue bars at the bottom of the graph show known hospitalizations. Those don't look like they have risen as much as the case numbers have. This graph shows the number of hospitalizations more clearly. They were rising throughout the month of June after having slowed down in May, but have plateaued this month. This may be because more infections without symptoms are being detected. It may also be because more younger people are being infected, and younger people are generally less likely to need hospitalization. Most of the new COVID cases are related to places where people congregate indoors, such as workplaces, parties, and prisons. In response to the increased number of cases, Governor Kate Brown held a press conference on Monday.
We're here today to sound the alarm. The COVID-19 disease is spreading rapidly across the entire state of Oregon, and each and every one of us needs to take action, immediate action, to slow the spread of this disease. Let me share a few sobering facts. We reported more cases in the past week than we did during the entire month of May. The last time we had 100 cases in a single day was more than a month ago. Half of all cases are from people under the age of 40, and 1/3 of all cases are from people under the age of 30. The virus is extremely contagious, and many people don't show symptoms for days. In that time, you can come into contact with dozens, or if you're not careful, hundreds of other people in your social circles and your community.
Brown announced a new ban on indoor social gatherings of more than 10 people. The ban does not apply to businesses or churches. She also required the use of face masks outdoors where social distancing of at least 6 feet can't be maintained. Unemployment remains at a record high of over 11% in Oregon due to the pandemic. On Tuesday, the State Emergency Board Committee decided how to disperse another $200 million in federal COVID relief money. $35 million has been allocated to give a one-time payment of $500 to each of about 70,000 people whose unemployment benefits applications are still pending. $30 million has been allocated for some workers who have had to take time off due to COVID. $62 million will go to the Oregon Cares Fund for Black Relief and Resiliency, $50 million to help arts and cultural organizations keep afloat, $25.6 million in emergency grants to businesses with 25 or fewer employees, and $3.6 million to the Warm Springs Reservation for improvements to some broken water and wastewater systems. The committee worked largely with bipartisan cooperation, although there were some disagreements. Here are Senator Lynn Finley from Eastern Oregon and Senator James Manning of the Eugene area.
Senate District 30 represents 36% of the state of Oregon, sent through Central and Eastern Oregon. A component of my district are 2 Native American reservations with a large population in each, and a very large population of Hispanic people throughout the district in all phases of work. Those folks are completely left out of this bill. I'm in receipt of the Oregon Legislative Council on July 13th issued a legal opinion legislative opinion on this measure, and they deemed it to be unconstitutional.
What this bill does is that in my community, there are very few small Black businesses. They are the last ones to come online and the first ones to go out of business because they don't have the support. We're talking about how do we break the cycle of generational poverty. Well, you start doing that by providing opportunity and equal access to capital. This is a mere pittance of all of the money that we have been spending to help all the Oregonians. So I really don't understand where the unconstitutionality of this comes in, only to the fact that we're talking about African American or Black people.
The money is coming from the Coronavirus Aid, Response, and Emergency Security Act, or CARES, which passed the U.S. Congress in March. Other provisions of the CARES Act, such as the extra $600 a week in added unemployment benefits, are due to expire by the end of this month. Congress will return to session on Monday, but Senate Republicans are skeptical of Democratic proposals for more spending. Meanwhile, the lawmakers on Oregon's Budget Committee have been wrestling with how to manage the financial impact of the COVID crisis on the state budget. The committee will hear online public testimony starting next Wednesday. Governor Brown plans to call the legislature into another special session once it is clear what assistance, if any, the national government will provide to state and local governments. Protests against police brutality are continuing in a few locations in Oregon. In Portland, Rose City Justice, a group which had organized many of the largest protests, stepped back from its leadership role a couple of weeks ago. Smaller groups have taken over, and there have been acts of vandalism, arson, throwing objects, and pointing lasers at the eyes of police officers. Recent protests have centered on the county and federal courthouses in downtown Portland. 2 weeks ago, President Trump ordered federal officers from the Department of Homeland Security to Portland, as well as to Seattle and Washington, D.C., to help guard federal property. The federal officers, wearing camouflage uniforms as though in wartime, have escalated the tensions with protesters by their aggressive actions, including indiscriminate use of tear gassing and impact munitions. In one case, a peaceful protester was severely injured when shot in the face with some kind of munition. The previous 4 photos were courtesy of the Facebook page Black Formation. There are also multiple reports of camouflaged men without identification in unmarked vehicles grabbing citizens off the streets for unexplained detentions. These incidents have occurred away from federal property, and even when citizens are not engaged in unlawful activity. Late Friday, Oregon Attorney General Ellen Rosenblum said she intends to file suit and ask for a restraining order against federal agencies for these detentions. Also on Friday, The Nation reported that some of these officers were from the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, operating as part of a task force put together by President Trump. Black Formation also reported on Facebook that U.S. military veterans on the scene have said that the tactics and equipment of some supposed federal officers are the same as those used in Iraq by Academy, formerly named Blackwater, a private military contractor. At this point, this is just speculation, but the possibility is serious enough to demand investigation. Mayor Ted Wheeler of Portland and other Portland officials have said that they do not need and do not want the extra federal officers there. When asked about this at her press conference earlier in the week, Governor Brown had this to say.
My interactions with the president are extremely limited, but I did hear him on a phone call a couple of weeks ago demanding a very violent response, even when there were peaceful protesters. I don't believe that President Trump ordering troops to the streets in Portland is the solution to the challenges we're facing, and I would ask Portlanders to not take the bait.
The People Not Politics campaign to get a redistricting reform initiative on the November ballot got a boost from a federal judge on July 10th. The initiative would move the authority to draw the boundaries of congressional and state legislative districts from the state legislature to an independent redistricting commission. The campaign failed to gain enough signatures by the July 2nd deadline and petitioned the court on the grounds that the governor's stay-at-home orders impeded their exercise of their constitutional rights. The court agreed, saying the petitioners showed reasonable diligence in their efforts. The judge ordered the Oregon Secretary of State to either lower the number of signatures required for this initiative or extend the deadline for gathering them. However, on Wednesday, Attorney General Rosenblum appealed the decision. A virtual panel discussed the initiative's proposal at this week's City Club of Eugene program. A video of the discussion is posted on the club's Facebook page. Radio broadcast of the City Club's program will be aired Monday evening, July 20th at 7 p.m. on KLCC in the Eugene area. For listening at other times, click on Programming, Programs A through Z, and then City Club of Eugene. That's it for today. You can follow Social Advance on one of our social media channels, such as on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. You can also find links to our videos on our videos page of our website at socialadvance.org. Thanks for watching, and stay alert.